Tell me a story.
Story time.
Story time.
It's story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick. Story time with Mick. Story time with Mick.
Back in the 60s, I was working in a film in a studio. Not in the 60s, in the 70s. Before I started working in Hollywood, I did a lot of sound stuff, and I did a lot of bass playing, for local bands and stuff. And I was in a studio one time, and it's a country area, San Bernardino.
Oh,
yeah, the country,
Gotcha.
And we were in kind of a country music studio, and we were recording some rock thing or something. And I reached over and I grabbed what I thought was a can of Coke and just tilted it back because I was thirsty, and it was like in between takes.
Oh no!
And so I rushed into the studio, grabbed the.
Don't tell me what it was. I think I know what it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've done that before.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And the weird thing about a spit can is it's actually like a creature.
Yeah.
It's like because once it starts pouring out of there, it just all goes. Ugh. Oh, that was unbelievable. It was bad. Then I turned around and I had to point the other way when I threw up so I didn't throw up on the board. I was working on Tales from the Darkside, and it was a very, very low rent place down in East LA. In fact, it was right up the street from Farmer John's.
Oh, really?
And the thing is, we used to have Pig Death Thursdays, because on Pig Death Thursdays they would slaughter the pigs, and the sound and smell that would come wafting up the street was just horrendous.
Could you hear the pig squealing?
Oh yeah, you could hear them. You could hear them squealing, and oh man, that place was the worst on Thursdays.
Yeah. I had a friend that told me he used to work at a slaughterhouse, and he couldn't eat pork because
I can
he could hear the
that.
pig squealing in his head.
So anyway, we're working in this weird little place doing Tales from the Darkside, and I was the construction coordinator or assistant art director or something like that, and we were sitting in this guy TJ, what was his name? TJ Miller, I think. He was Squiggy.
Oh, okay.
In the Batman series.
Oh, in the Batman series.
Yeah.
I was thinking Squiggy from the other show.
Well, he was also
Laverne and Shirley.
No. He was the I'm thinking of the Penguin's assistants. Penguin had 3 assistants, and he was one of them. But he was also the bartender. I can't think of the name of it. Anyway. So the thing is all these Italian guys, and they were, they're like, they all thought that they were in the mob from back east and had all run to the West Coast, and so they're working on this show, and nobody knew anything on that show. It was the first major kind of show that I had ever worked on, and I knew more about it than any of them in that building. And so we're sitting one day in the middle of a production meeting, and somehow or other I started to cough, and I'm coughing, and the guy that was sitting next to me grabbed TJ's glass of water, iced water, and handed it to me. And it was vodka, and I just
wow.
Man, just flattened my butt. I'm telling you, I was just spitting it out, and just good time had by all.
Awesome. So he was a generally happy guy because he had a happy juice with him?
Yeah. He was a old style actor.
So Tales from the Darkside, see, that was one of my favorite series when it was on.
Oh yeah?
And I remember I watched it every week I watched it. But so one question I had for you was was it weird working with I know it had a lot of older actors that were big back in the day.
Right, like Phyllis Diller and
that must be really interesting.
Yeah, Phyllis Diller she was game for anything.
But did you ever run into the old actress or actor that was very picky, I guess, or bitchy, I guess is a better word.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying
to my gosh. Yeah, Eyeline Monsters.
Yes.
Yeah, one of
you told me about that.
I was telling you about the Eyeline Monster.
Right.
I couldn't
Christian Bale. We're talking about Christian Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale, but our version of it She was one of the old. I can't remember her name. She was one of the old surfer.
Oh, you told me. Was that the one that? Oh God, this is one that she was a singer too.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I'm blanking on her name now.
Exactly. So am I.
Yeah.
But she was an Eyeline Monster. Oh my God. I'm telling you something. She would just rip. And the thing about Eyeline Monsters is, by the time you got into that point to where you don't want anybody at all to see you act, and you're in front of a camera, that's just an excuse for if you don't get the take right, you're gonna find somebody and you're gonna rip them apart. You know, I mean, they're just gonna be fodder.
Right.
And that's exactly what she was like. Oh God. Ugh.
I want to say, actually, there was an episode in Tales from Darkside, if I remember correctly. I don't remember, but I think there was an episode with an older actress that had been past her prime, and she was trying to get the spotlight again.
That was the one.
Was that it?
That was it. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh,
maybe that's why it popped into my head.
Yeah, and the weird thing is that she was the character she was playing in that.
Wow.
Just
now we gotta figure out her name.
Oh, it was totally meta. I remember I got another great little story aside from that was on that same show. What was I can't think of the name of the show. Well,
you got me.
Oh, you know what? Can you add this in later?
Look, I knew you were talking about the episode on Tales from the Dark Side with the lady.
Okay, that was pretty incredible. That was super weird. But we can add the name of the show in right here.
Right. Oh, I think I know what show that is. That's a popular show at the time.
That's the show. Anyway, when she came over, this was the daughter that was in that show. Beep boop.
Oh, okay.
I got it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Beep boop. Actually did one of the Tales from the Dark Sides. And she Bing Bong
was on a show, and his sister
on the show was Beep Boop. There was a party that was held there now in this building. Everybody that was working there, for the most part, were alcoholics, and a lot of them lived in like halfway houses. I mean, you know, it's just kind of like the old failed actors home. Right. is actually an AA meeting.
Yeah.
An AA halfway house. Yeah. Right. It was the same place. And a lot of these people were actually working, you know, in this show because they were all friends of TJ Castronova. So anyway, not to name names, but beep boop. They all pitched in their pennies and they bought an 8-ball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See what I'm saying?
Wow.
Might have been and so at the party they thought that they were going to be really, you know, they were going to be super super generous, and they made out, and I heard this the next day because I'd never stuck around for anything down there because I drove home, right? I had
you're the smart one.
I had a long way to go home. I was the boss. So anyway, this was we were halfway done, and we were throwing a party for being halfway done. And so they all get together.
They have parties for that?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Oh, well, when you
I've heard of a party, a rap party.
You have to understand, when you're doing episodic.
Oh, okay.
Episodic is tough.
You celebrate every milestone when you're doing episodics. God. Okay, that makes sense to me now. Yeah,
because, you know, it's like the editors. You never saw the editors at all. I don't think they ever left the building. You know, there would be Chinese food containers outside of the door every once in a while. That was the only way you knew they were alive.
Well, that pretty much describes editing, yeah.
So they're all at the party, and the next day they come in and everybody is super pissed. And I guess they went and carefully lighted out all their little tiny lines, and you know, and got it and started to, you know, pass the glass around. When it hit beep boop, she just took and cleaned it out.
Oh wow. Wow.
Half of those little lines for one nostril and half of the little lines for the other. And boy, it was the most dejected, horrible day ever. Yeah.
Wow.
Good time had by all.
Did she show up to work?
She wasn't even working.
Oh, that's right.
She was.
She'd already finished her episode.
She had finished her episode. And
got it.
Was just she was hanging out with the sound man.
Wow.
I think
So that was the 80s. That was kind of was that pretty common back then? I mean, probably not as common now. It's under the radar now, I would imagine. It's not like open.
You know what? That and rap beer were incredibly common. In fact, we were in an old little industrial building, and in this building it had that circular urinal for the men. The circular marble like urinal.
It looks like a sink, but it's really a urinal.
Yeah, except for it's urinal, and you can stand and take it from any direction, which I always thought was really weird because the next thing you know is you're looking straight across this thing at the guy that's on the other side is pissing in. I mean, how is it really? That's just not good.
I just focus on the drain.
Right.
And just ignore the streams coming from other directions.
That's exactly must be what it is. Anyway, the thing is that whole bathroom, I mean, you know what size it'd have to be in order to facilitate that thing. They would come in and they would drop Stroh's beer off every week. every Thursday, the Stroh's truck would come down and they would fill that room literally to the point to where you opened the door and all you saw was Stroh's on a Friday morning.
Wow.
And it would be empty by Wednesday.
It sounds like my kind of job because I'm a beer drinker, but I don't know about Stroh's, but yeah, if somebody brought some IPA every Friday to me, I'd be really happy.
Well, yeah, it wasn't, it's like, but it was like calling a band free beer. Everybody's going to show up, right? Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, that was, Tales from the Darkside was an interesting place.
Wow. I got to say, speaking of
Beep boop.
her brother is awesome.
Yeah, her brother's really cool.
Yeah.
Has she?
Not that she's bad, but
Has she done anything in the?
Not that I've been on I haven't really noticed her in anything.
Yeah, it hasn't been on my radar since she got off that show.
But is in that went off the air for a while and came back on Netflix. What was it called?
Another popular show.
I always get him confused with the guy from
A popular movie.
They're similar, but anyway.
Yeah.
But I like how he acts. He was on a very popular show at the time too. I remember I watched that show.
You did?
Not to go back too far.
So you're the one.
I was the one guy.
So you're the one.
Yeah.
MC Matthews.